texts up there which are somewhat political and somewhat poetic, and they sort of flip between poetic and political intentionally, and they kind of retain a balance between the poetic and the political. I think, see what you think. This is us putting a billboard up over David Cameron's election campaign, which is kind of like how we did it. I don't always do it myself, I'm quite slow. I have this guy from Essex who does it really fast. That's this piece. It says, the spectacle of advertising creates images of false beauty, so suave and so impossible to attain that you will hurt inside and never even know where the hurt comes from. And in all the pictures now, the famous people have already begun to look lost and lonely, which is what I think about advertising really. But I mean, it's about trying to speak from the collective unconscious in a way, if that doesn't sound too pretentious, and speak in that space about what that space does to us psychologically, emotionally, on the inside. I quite like the idea that the famous people in the spectacle are also harmed and hurt by it, as much as we are as consumers of the spectacle. This is a sort of random selection of work from the last year or two in London. This one has a slightly ecological bent. It says the flood will lift the ghosts from the Hollywood Lawn Cemetery and they will disappear like ether in the new dead air. All the names will be erased from the billboards and the theatres and the piers and the magazines and the monuments. You live by missive immortality and your myths are not safe. It's slightly apocalyptic, perhaps. This is three pieces I just did on Old Street in February, and they sort of work as a three. This one's kind of about Reaganomics. I mean, I kind of feel that we're still living with... I mean, I'm kind of open to the accusation of bitching about Reagan and Thatcher the whole time. The reason for that is I still think we're living with Reaganomics, basically. I don't think we've moved on from that at all. I think we're living with the consequences of Reaganomics, and I don't think it's boring to go on about it. It says it turned out this way because you dreamed it this way, because all you could dream is what you saw in magazines, and this is how it feels to win and have everything, all the luxury and power you ever wanted and still feel disgusted. Ronald Reagan blues, $1 million house in LA, 50 fucking white anemic stars, my darling, and all the blood and dust of the world on your hands. This one's kind of a piece in support of Occupy and what I find beautiful about Occupy. Is it boring if I read them? You guys can read them yourselves, huh?
No, it's not.
Is it good? It says, there are wooden houses on land in faraway places that don't cost much money, and strings of lights that make pass to them gently and do not turn off the stars, and 100 black flags of anarchists held up at night 100 miles apart, 10,000 miles of flags, and a little row of tents in front of the cathedral guard our future. There will be a quick sickness, the kind that kills the body before the mind knows, and then there will be a slow rising. It's kind of an anarchist revenge poem. And this is the third in that group. It says, because you had to give names to everything, because you had to give names to everything you found and make logos for bad ideas and change your car every 2 years and wake up early for conference calls, and it turned out to be no progress at all, just a shadow festival. Because of that, you will have to learn to look at the sky again. You will have to learn to eat food that grows where you live again. You will have to learn to touch what you make. These are 2 poems I did for the royal wedding, which aren't particularly royalist. Passages of the city returned to green, brief sunshine across the park, and I walked and remembered, flags hung up, monarchs like mayflies, followed by parasite hordes of courtesan scum. Your ideas of specific grandeur, and how they were just never the same as mine. Your hair across your face in the sunlight, preppy youth laid to waste. That's one where it's kind of like partly political, partly emotional, so it's kind of like there's almost like an angry love poem mixed in with the political part of the text, which I kind of like to do because it makes it sound like someone speaking. And the point of this work is that you see the voice of like someone, an anonymous person, but someone on a billboard where you have this normally very limited discourse. You have like the voice of almost a ghost person. The work's always totally anonymous, and if I'm asked to do it non-anonymously, I don't do it. I leave it completely like to just live on its own. And you know, I want the audience of passers-by. I want an audience that's not just the art audience. I mean, I have the art audience anyway. They're always going to like look at the work, and I've got a great kind of like belief in the audience of the everyday passerby. You know, I do think normal people in Britain are much more open to contemporary art and poetry than a Daily Mail would have you think, or much more open to it than we sort of let them be, you know. The response we get to the work, putting the work up, is like really interesting, very positive and very engaged from like a very cross-section of people. People that you wouldn't necessarily think would be into art or into poetry, come up, get it, really engage with it and like understand it. People in the street aren't stupid.
Just watch your connection there, man.
So
It's coming in and out.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the laptop.
Is that better?
Yeah, maybe leave it on the table and click it. Yeah. Perfect.
Are we
Just
back?
on your lap.
Sorry guys.
That's okay.
This is a kind of second one, wedding one. It's a kind of like anti-consumerist mantra, I suppose. It says, I close my eyes and think of all the things I don't want, and I visualize them rolling by. Vacuum cleaners, 3D TVs, new phones and cars and handbags, a neat house in the suburbs. I think of how unhappy these things would make me, and then I am free. If you don't want these things, they can never truly have you. Then I think of wood, and I think of my bones as wood, something slow and put here a long time ago. Kind of interested in the idea of like the pagan city and feeling like the land in the city and feeling like the city is a wild place still. And it's really important. And for some reason living in London the last 2 or 3 years, I feel like London has become like a more pagan place, or I can feel in London like more of a connection to some kind of like ancient pagan Britain. I don't know if that's me just going mad, but I certainly feel it, and I feel like the city is still a wild place. There's another piece that deals with that, which is a light piece. I also make these things with like recycled sunlight, like solar powered LEDs. And this one's just kind of like a love poem to the city. The city is wilder than you think and kinder than you think. It is a valley and you're a horse in it. It is a house and you're a child in it. Safe and warm here in the fire of each other. It's kind of simple. This is 5 minutes left. Okay, cool. This is another recycled sunlight piece. When it was in Paris. It's travelled quite a lot to various places. It's kind of universal and self-explanatory. All palaces are temporary palaces. That's another recycled sunlight piece, which some people probably know. That's a piece working with Stop the War Coalition in Trafalgar Square. When we are sleeping, airplanes carry memories of the horrors we have given our silent consent to into the night sky of our cities, and leave them there to gather like clouds and condense into our dreams before morning. It's kind of like the psychological debt we have to pay back for letting the illegal war in Iraq happen. And the idea that if we let that happen in our name, all of us have a sort of existential debt to pay because it permeates our subconscious and permeates our dreams, and there's kind of no escape from it. Thinking about maybe becoming a kind of anti-poet laureate and doing sort of like really offensive things when there's a royal occasion. So, having done the Royal Wedding Poems, I think I might do this one for the Jubilee. England is the first lie. England is a lie invading kings told you to take your actual land from you. This land is your land from the flat Norfolk night to the blue Cornish morning. Just a wild pagan land with no name and no flag. Just this cold beach that nourishes you. Just the wind on this grassland that nourishes you. Just this rain on your face in the morning, in this blank springtime that nourishes you. Which again is kind of the idea of pagan Britain and sort of like the island before the invention of the nation state and the sort of the land grab of the English aristocracy in the 17th century. Yeah. When's the Jubilee? June or something? Yeah. So that'll be the next one, I guess. That's kind of me. I mean, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You want to have teachers coming in?